afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand, and welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Friday, June 20th. After tomorrow, the days get shorter. 2025, after 3:15 p.m. Eastern. We're having a reverse aging health call and all the rest tonight, after 9:15 p.m. Eastern. I have a lot of things to go over. How many of us can say that we are ecstatic? Excuse me. Right? Not to be ecstatic is simply unnecessary. To be ecstatic is natural, spontaneous. Needs no effort to be ecstatic. It needs great effort to be miserable. We expend energy focusing most of the time on being miserable. And I know that sounds strange to a lot of people because I don't do that. I don't focus on. It's not a knowing or it's not on purpose. It's just automatic that we end up focusing on the low vibes. And we don't realize it. We get caught up in something, and then the next thing, it's like a snowball effect. And then we end up saying at the end of the day, I'm glad this day's over. I don't care to have another day like this. But not knowing the fact that we can look at it and say, I'm going to shift over here. I'm focusing on what is it that I want? Instead of this stuff, which I've done many times before. Because we condition ourselves to focus on things, even when it's not like we do it on purpose, we just do it. And we focus on things that we don't want. You want to make sure that you're in a comfortable position with no outside distractions. Relaxed into your body, as still as a statue, focused on your breath rising and falling. And this is why when you look at people from not a judgment, but from watching or observing, it's why that they look so tired, because misery is really hard work. And to maintain it is really difficult. Because we are doing something against nature. We're doing something against nature. Now, do we know that? No, we don't know that. How often do any of us adventure out of our cozy nest of habitual life? Into that place where we really don't know what could happen next. Ask yourself, how often do I do that? You may have noticed that your ego is a master at creating habits. It craves to create the perfect comfort zone so it can feel the security, sameness, and receive an impenetrable force field of safety. And this comfort zone is different for every one of us. For an adrenaline seeker, those are the folks that, parachute, bungee jump, jump off of cliffs into shallow water. Now, the retired executive might be sitting by the pool in paradise every day, sipping a cold pina colada. Whoever you are, you have some form of comfort zone established that is there for you to grow out of and expand through. But see, most of us don't grow out of it, we stay there. Because it feels good, comfortable. Ego mind likes it because it's secure to it. And so we don't we won't go out there. We get too set. And the longer we stay in it, the less chances are we're going to move out of it and expand through it. Sometimes I'll have someone say, the truth is that the ego, right? The truth is that the ego has no real power of control and cannot create 100% safely or safety in our lives. And life is inherently insecure. Only death is a sure thing. Doesn't matter if you're in the body 20,000 years, 5,000 years, 1,000 years, 500 years. Eventually you're going to leave the body. The mind can only fixate on the false notion of safety and hope that this will come true. True safety only comes from being in touch with your eternal self, that infinite part of you that will never die. What could be safer than that? Everything in this world, we know this, changes. The flux of matter is what makes life so exciting, spontaneous, and dynamic here. Your body is, and I don't think many of us put much attention on that, but your body is not the same body that you atomically had 1 year ago. And 10,000 years from now, you may not recognize or comprehend half of what you see. As long as this ego is in charge and thinks it's running the show, it will be holding you tightly to the lie of safety by sticking like super glue to its comfort zone. It's like anything. It's like abundance. Abundance undulates. It moves in the waves, okay? It's like wealth on the planet. Wealth on the planet should be moving and expanding constantly amongst the population of the planet, not forced and cordoned off and pigeonholed and hoarded and kept from actually moving and expressing and expanding. Okay? And that's one of the, it's like the wealth on this planet, it's like it's constipated. Really. Okay? Backed up. And to release it means a freedom that no one on this planet has ever experienced, to the true sense of the word. Now, there is nothing wrong with being comfortable. In fact, it can become a precursor to a deep spiritual, mystical life experience. But then, the ego will often coax us to stay in an old rut or pattern just to keep its distance from the fear of the unknown. It believes that it's better to stay with what it has known for years. Haven't you ever said that to yourself? It's better to stay with things that I'm sure of and that I've known for years. I'm at a stage of my life where I'm not interested in expanding out. That's the rationalization. And to stay with what it has known for years, even if it feels like you are shriveling up in some lukewarm bath where there is no heat, excitement, or pizzazz. Does your life contain those things? Right? Pizzazz, excitement. Now, this could be a relationship with a job, a salary, overweight body, lack of vacation, or just a convenient, repetitive daily routine. The ego would rather be comfortable in a velvet rut for 70-plus years than take a risk to step into true aliveness. And you can see it everywhere. It's not like it's a secret. As you observe and watch, you can see this with many. That, and the justification is, it says, well, I've done this and done that. Now I'm just going to sit around and do nothing. That's our prerogative. But it's a proven fact is that as we age, as the body ages, which we know is a disease, which you'll see that disappear. But right now, as we age, we get fixed. We just believe that, we can't do a lot of the things we used to do, nor are we motivated to do them. And we spend a lot of our time worrying about mortality. We do. It doesn't mean you discuss it with anybody, but you worry about it. When's my time going to come? And instead of focusing on that, you focus on, what can I do that's a little bit different than what I'm always doing? Right? Isn't that true? It's like maybe you wanted to, but you wanted to do something different, but it just never came into fruition. And then you come up with excuses, like the ego man will come up with excuses, say, well, you're too old, right? Should have done it a long time ago when you were younger. You're this, you're that, And instead, you say, I've always wanted to collect things or do this or do that. They start doing it. You'd be surprised how it frees you from you being you pinned yourself through the ego mind. You're fixed in one area. And you see it. I mean, maybe you've experienced it. But eventually we all do. Where, we start looking at things obviously differently. We have different perspectives as the time passes by. And we view things differently. You ever notice, imagine this. This is and a lot of people would say, well, this is just how life is. That's a big-ass excuse. When you look at life, and that there's going to come a time where we leave the body. That's it, okay? This is all temporary. We don't know, we don't really put any time on that or attention to know, and that's how we stay in gratitude on a daily basis, 24/7. Which moves us into present moment. And present moment is all we have, because we don't have all that other stuff. We spend a lot of time wondering and worrying about the future, tomorrow. And then we also will dip into the past. Now, I'm not talking about you when you just you're melancholy and you revisit things from the past. And then you leave it alone, right? I'm talking about people that go into the past and live in the past. I'm talking about people that will go in the future and try to live in the future when they don't even know what the future is. You see what I mean? So they're never living in the now. They're living in yesterday or tomorrow. That's different than people that just go visit and reminisce, They might be going through the closet and something comes up or a picture falls out and they say, wow, I remember this. And it's a good feeling, but you visit it, and it's done, gone, and you move on. It's the same with future situations where you dream, and you just happen to start dreaming about something that you would really like to experience, whatever it may be. And those things, you dream, and you don't ever stop dreaming, which is a good thing. So you don't say, oh, well, that'll never happen, because then you negate it. It'll happen as long as you don't strangle it to death. So when we have these, it's a knowing, and our transition is in full bloom. And one area where many of us may have a hideout in this velvet rut is in the arena of living abundantly. Due to past emotional programming, you may not be comfortable with actually experiencing what it is like to be truly abundant and financially free. Most people are afraid of it, so they push it away. You may unconsciously be choosing to propagate a scarcity mentality just because this is what feels the safest to your ego. It may be terrifying to accept massive abundance, since that would mean you would have to stop playing small. Just imagine what would happen in the event you decided to expand your financial frequency and stop playing it safe, to stretch out of your comfortable money zone. It may seem undesirable, yet it is a powerful way of redefining who you are in this world you are living in. And when you continue sending out the same old vibration by remaining in the same old zone, you tend to reap the same old levels of success and abundance. And when you venture out beyond your comfort zone, you discover that there are many exciting opportunities and experiences that you were previously unaware of. This is what the vast unknown that makes up the universe truly contains. There is much more of what we do not know in outer space and inner space than what we do know. Sure, the ego is terrified of these infinite possibilities, yet you can only access a truly alive and abundant life by doing the thing you are most scared to do. True growth only really happens when you consciously choose to take that big risk to move beyond your comfort zone or that velvet rut. Some of you are familiar with yoga. Just like in yoga, while the stretching may feel uncomfortable at first, there is a pleasure that comes from extending your limbs and breathing and relaxing into a new position. This is the point where a new consciousness can be found. And the more often you do this, the more limber your whole being, mind, and body becomes. And the easier it is for you to move into new realms of thinking. If you do the same thing with abundance in your life, you will naturally attract a greater level of abundance than you could have dreamed possible. You may discover more about your hidden abundance comfort zones by asking yourself the following questions. How comfortable would you feel if someone gifted you a large sum of money? Now, I've seen this happen many times, and it's almost like an argument starts. Not with everybody, but, quite a few. They get into kind of a conflict because they don't care to have the money, this large sum of money that's being gifted to them. All kinds of things start coming out. Well, is it clean? Where did it come from? How did you get it? And all this ego mind stuff. So how comfortable would you feel if someone gifted you a very large sum of money? These are questions we don't ask ourselves ever. How easy is it for you? And this is a big one for many of us. How easy is it for you to ask someone to support you in creating abundance by using one of your business ideas? A lot of people have some phenomenal ideas. I mean, stupendous. But they crap out because they don't follow through with them. They don't believe that anybody else is going to believe it. They don't believe anybody else is going to want to help them or participate with it. And it just kind of goes by the wayside. That's why I say to people, keep a journal on any idea that you come up with that just happens to pop in. Write it down, date it, and write it down. Now, how would you feel if you were to, all of a sudden, receive an abundance of attention, love, support, and admiration? How would you feel about that? You know, I've seen a lot of people where they're kind of freeze. They kind of push away. They don't like to be hugged. They don't like to be kissed. They don't like any of that. You can tell it too. They're kind of standoffish, I guess you could say. Cold, and you pick up on it because you're just gregarious and happy, and you want to share that happiness, and then you hug somebody, and it was like, well, what happened there? But how would you feel if all of a sudden you receive an abundance of attention, love, support, and admiration? How quickly do you embrace new opportunities that could lead to more abundance in your life? Universe delivers all the time, 24/7 to us, for us. And either we act or we don't, And it never ends. I mean, we can, this stream of things and you might look at one and say, that's not bad. Maybe I should embrace that one. Nah. And we just let it pass by. But these will always show up. And then we start recognizing that this is the universe sending us what we want. But it comes in a way that we just say, we don't think about that that's the universe sending us what we want. It's like making a call to someone that you normally wouldn't make a call to, and the universe puts that in front of you. You make the call, and it so happens that they want to gift you some money or they want to give you something. Because as we all know, there is a transition that we're in the middle of on the planet, and it is a tremendous transfer of wealth from the lower frequency beings to the higher frequency beings, which means all of you. And these are questions that you definitely want to ask yourself ahead of time. You don't care to, push them in the closet and then pull them out later. These are questions you want to be good with you, right? You want to be good with these questions and know for yourself and feel for yourself and not be, caught off guard. This is unnecessary. Someone gives you a large sum of money, you're absolutely ecstatic. You hug them, you're thankful, you're grateful. You accept it. Instead of this, the old adage was taught years and ages ago that you should be a pauper. It's not good to have a lot of wealth and stuff. You should be a pauper. Be poor. Poor and you'll be happy. Not really. I know that some of you have been on both ends of that. And if someone were to ask you, would you rather be poor or wealthy? You're going to immediately say, I've tried them both, and I'll stay with wealthy. That's why it's a natural state of being. See, abundance and wealth on this planet is a natural state of being. We are all pure consciousness gods that we truly are in these bodies. We use these bodies as super conduits to manifest anything we choose. And we all deserve the best of everything. This is an abundant planet. Okay? Even though there are things that have happened on it, many don't know about. But it's kind of a rekindling, expansion, and growth. and prosperity and abundance, unlike anything that this planet and any of the species that have lived on this planet that have ever experienced it. And all of you, all of us will experience it. And that's why I'm bringing up these questions, because they're important questions, so that we're focused and centered and balanced, so that we're open to new stuff. We're open to it. Our hearts are open. We don't have the illusionary iron bars surrounding our hearts, and keep the ego protected. Because it's going to change. It's going to change rapidly. Wouldn't you rather be accepting with awareness and clarity, and be ecstatic and happy about the shifts and the changes? Because in eventuality, the reason everything is changing on this planet, and I get a lot from people that say they feel it, they're going about their business during the course of the day, it just comes in. They're not focused on it. It just comes in. And they kind of savor it. And they know that the transition is in a high frequency. They're not anticipating, okay? They don't have expectations, attachments. But they just know that the transition is in full swing. And embracing that and saying, this is great. Because everybody will be wealthy. That's it. And more people are focused on the fact is that they're not projecting or, again, living in tomorrow. They just know that when that time's come, when it does come, they'll be good with it. They won't be fearful. They won't be stressed out. They won't have anxiety. They won't try to push it away. Right? They'll embrace it. What do you think will happen on this planet when nobody is without across the board? And that the people, this species on planet Earth, looks at how they help others, how they can help others. First, they get their own house in order. They love themselves deeply and eternally. They're gentle, kind, generous, and humble with themselves all the time, 24/7. They're in deep, eternal gratitude all the time. They practice staying in heart-mindedness. One of their main goals is to lead the ego mind into peace, for it to discover peace that is within us and not out there. That's mastering the ego mind. Not only that, not only mastering the ego mind, but then mastering your thoughts. And what will be your motivation? Your motivation will be to help others, helping you. You're helping parts of you. See, most of us don't look at it that way. When you're helping someone, especially those are the ones that they want to be helped. You know what I mean? Maybe you've put forth an effort to help somebody, but you picked up on the vibe that they don't really want to be helped. They don't care to be helped. See? And one might say, what's the difference? Well, someone, you know them, or maybe a relative, whatever. They come to you for money. They need help and money and stuff. So you give them money. And you gladly give them money. You don't have any problem with that. So you give them the money, and that helps them out and everything. Now, someone who wants to be helped will take the money, utilize it in a good way, and then it'll motivate them to do something to bring in their own money. Those are people that want to be helped. The people that don't want to be helped would be this way. They would keep coming back to you for more money. You see what I mean? They'd keep coming back to you for money. They would try to play on your emotions and your feelings. And well, what happened to that money I gave you? Well, I had this bill and I did this and, this and that. And it went really fast. And so you give more money, and then they keep asking for money. And this could go on for years. And that's someone who does not want to be helped, doesn't care to be helped. The ones that will take money and be deeply grateful, they will do something with themselves so they can generate their own wealth rather than relying on you to give them money all the time. Have you ever been in that situation? I've been in that situation where they just keep asking for money, and it's always a horrible time, and they're stressing, and they don't have food to eat, and they don't have this, and they don't have that. And that's all right. But after a while, any of us get to the point where we say, when are you going to help yourself? I've been helping you. You can't rely on me for the rest of your life. You've got to help yourself. I'll help you help yourself, but I'm not going to sit here and continue to be the bank for you, and all you have to do is call me up and I send you money. And I've had people, and it's not about being angry about it. It's just that you get caught up in helping people that don't care to be helped. That's what happens. And now, with this great wave of abundance that is soon to flood the planet, what do you think? There'll be transitions. There'll be people that will negate it, fight it, not care to have it, frightened of it, desperately fearful of it. And then there'll be those with open arms. This is great, and be in deep gratitude for it. Because, see, most people's relationship with money sucks. They've got this programming that's been, pumped into them that money is the root of all evil, that it's rotten and it's bad and it corrupts and all this stuff. And that's not the case. It's the carrier of the money that causes the issue, not the money. It's like a gun's going to just all of a sudden jump up in the air and shoot somebody? No. It's the being that's handling the responsibility of that weapon that can cause damage to others. So you discipline whoever it is that is undisciplined about carrying any kind of a firearm. Right? So we have, and I'm sharing this so that you ask these questions with yourself. Not that I'm going to get a bunch of money tomorrow morning, but that you know how you'll respond. There shouldn't be any fear. You should have no fear when it comes to wealth. Really. That's ego mind. If you develop fear of wealth coming to you, you really got to go into meditation and address why that is, why you have that fear. And most people won't do that, but it is imperative that whenever you're faced with some kind of a fear, doesn't mean anybody needs to know about it, but you have this fear and it surfaces every now and then. It's a good idea to go within and to face the fear, whatever it is. It's almost like sitting on the couch with the fear. Here, come down, have a seat. I want to know what you really need. And it's just you and the fear. But to enjoy this huge transition on this planet, doesn't it make sense that you've already embraced it? You've already embraced it. And you aren't counting days or anything. You just say, when it happens, it will happen. And I'm going to enjoy the heck out of it. Period. You just leave it alone. And see, here's the real challenge is that with all of the programming we've had for generations, that we've got to melt through that and then embrace wealth and abundance and prosperity rather than fear it. Or where you believe you do not deserve it. That's another kicker right there. That will negate it forever. When you keep saying to yourself that you do not deserve this wealth, you do not deserve this abundance or prosperity, you won't have it. Or when you say you don't want it. And some people have this philosophy, if they say they don't want it, then they're going to get it, right? So if they say they don't want the wealth, they're going to get it. There's people that have that philosophy. You know, they figure, well, I'll just do the opposite. I'll say I don't want it, and the universe will give it to me. Does that work? No. You look at all the things. This is why it's really important that you go within. You basically put your house in order. You've got everything adjusted. You've forgiven everything. Maybe the real tough ones will take a little bit longer to forgive. But for the most part, you have got a clean house. You don't have any danglers hanging around that, are kind of bothering you. And you say, yeah, I'll get those later. Get them all. Sit with them all. Remove them all. Make peace with them all. And then you're really set for this abundance to come flowing in. And what you're focused on is the abundance, is the prosperity, is the wealth. Not to a fixation, not obsession, not expectation or attachment, but that you just know it, because all of us are abundant beings. There's nothing out there. It's that we have a harmony, a vibrational frequency that draws and attracts wealth and abundance and prosperity. That's it. Okay? And when we match it with the universe, we get what we want. That's it. We don't get what we don't want, we get what we want. And we also know that there's a flip side to it. So it's like, I have all this money, but yet now I have to look at how I'm going to stay anonymous, how I'm going to, enjoy my life, but not be front and center and have everybody trying to find out things. Because we really are. We don't come here. We come here, we're going to experience things, obviously. We create things. And we have pain, and we have suffering, we have disappointment, we have anger. We have all that stuff. We experience it all. Different degrees, but we all experience all of it. What we actually come here to do is to enjoy our lives and help others. That's why we come here. And in doing so, we experience. And that's what we're about. We create things into our lives, bring them into our reality, and experience them. That's why it's so easy to take other people's thoughts and think that they're our thoughts and then bring them in, create them in our reality, and experience them or live them. And this is why a lot of people will say, this doesn't feel right. This isn't right. It's not right. No, it isn't, because it is your thought. And we have this all the time. I mean, when you're getting slammed with 60,000 thoughts replaying themselves every single day, you're bound to bring some in, bring them into your reality, create them into your reality, and experience them. It's only in meditation when you begin to realize in the silence that's where the power is. That's where you ask in detail for whatever it is, that one thing that you want or desire. And you send it out with 100% confidence, faith, and trust. Not only in yourself, but the universe. And what happens with that? Well, it manifests. It manifests. See, we're all going to be moving out of our ruts. And I know for some it's scary because they don't care to move out of those ruts, those velvet ruts. But we're going to. Because you'll be afforded things that you always had excuses about because they weren't afforded you because you negated them, and then you'll start focusing on what you want, not what you don't want. And slowly but surely you'll start experiencing, well, you say to yourself, this is great. This is phenomenal. So it is true. I can manifest whatever I choose. That's right. And as long as I practice staying in heart-mindedness and using and having the heart-mind master the ego mind, then you're on the road to total peace within. Total peace with yourself. Total contentment, tranquility, benevolence, gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times. Then you know you're home. You are the God that you are within the body. You're not something separate. And this is super empowering for all of us on this planet. And it is our choice. It doesn't matter. See, the ego comes in and says, well, look at you. You can't do this. You can't do that. You know, you don't have this. You don't have that. What, are you crazy? Well, actually, no, you're not. Because you believe that, you know, anything's possible and there's no limitations, only those that you put upon yourself, and that you could literally request what it is you want through the heart-mind. And you know what? You'll get it. If you don't get it, you'll get something better. Because the universe knows better than we do, by far. See, this is all, it is a shift. It isn't? Okay, so it's not the comfort zone. It's not that velvet rut. And that's where it's uncomfortable for a lot of people to move out of that. And it's up to them. It's not up to anybody else. It's up to them to move out of it. And to know it, you know it, and you go, well, it hasn't been bad. You know, that velvet rut. But it's time for me to move out. Move out. Get out of this velvet rut. Move up and out. Increase vibrational frequencies. Decide to be happy for no reason whatsoever. And see, you're focusing on that, and like these meditations do, it gives people the opportunity to focus on what they want, or just to be, just in total silence and peace. And you will find that on this planet, it will become an everyday occurrence where everybody on this planet meditates. Okay? It will be a common thing, which would be absolutely phenomenal, magna glorious, to have it just be a common daily activity for the species of planet Earth. I'll join you in the meditation, and I'll return to close us out. Take an easy and slow breath in through the nose. Then easy and slow breath out from the mouth. Remain still, focus on your breath rising and falling, relaxed into your body. Whenever you feel alone, just add a little L to the word alone, and you will feel all one with this universe. When we add a little love to our loneliness, we merge with the ocean of existence. The pure love energy connects us with all beings and things. The illusion of separation falls away the moment we surrender to the source of love and let our ego dissolve into the infinitely loving sea. Everything is so much easier when living in a perpetual state of love. Take this with you for the rest of the day, into the evening and night, the following morning. We'll return here tonight after 9:15 p.m. Eastern to continue our reverse aging health call and all the rest. And Saturday, June 21, summer solstice, after 3:15 p.m. Eastern to continue our global guided meditation call. Be gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times. Be in the highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest, deepest, purest of the purest, purest, eternal gratitude at all times. No matter what's happening within you or outside of you. Open your heart. Allow the magic to flow in.